you've been an MEP. So you'll have a good idea of all the sort of Brexit side of things. Of course, you're a Brexit MEP.
Yeah.
Do you think it's going to end up with a bit of a tit for tat?
Well, I mean, what's very interesting, I think it's worth noting, first of all, that we gave 6.5 million EU member state citizens settled and pre-settled status. So if you lived here for more than 5 years and you could evidence that and you applied, you got settled status, never having to leave. And if you had been here for less than 5 years at the time that we left the EU, you still had the right to stay. So we've been incredibly generous as a nation. And it was one of the bugbears for the EU during the negotiations back in 2016 onwards.
That long ago.
I know, that long ago, that EU citizens shouldn't be discriminated against in the UK. And, of course, we've gold-plated that and been incredibly generous. The EU, I don't know if you recall this, Nana, but at the outset, the EU refused to reciprocate the unilateral declaration we made back after the referendum that we wouldn't forcibly deport any EU citizens. We are a very welcoming country. And here we are in 2023, 6.5 million EU member state citizens given the right to stay. And if there are some here working illegally, they should be deported. They've had every signal, every opportunity to regularise their stay in the UK. If they haven't done it, woe betide them. Off they go. But it shouldn't just be applied to EU member state citizens.
Right.
Anyone working in this country should be deported, shouldn't they? Anyone entering this country illegally should be deported. And it's quite telling.
A load of people who are coming on boats.
Yeah, well, it's interesting you opened by saying, it's only 2 people. But did you see the news clip? It was as if there was a massive crackdown on illegal working in the UK. And that's because this is quite a sensitive subject for the government. It realised that it hasn't done anywhere near enough to get a grip of what are effectively open borders. So they're championing this, and great. I mean, I hope they get it. I hope they do more of it.
It's interesting, isn't it, that they're... because they don't want to look bad, because you don't want to look bad because you're not treating people who've come on boats in a different way to the people who've come from the EU. So I suppose they now have to make sure that they're cracking down on all of it so that nobody looks like they're getting...
It should be uniform. And
absolutely.
If you can call... Rishi Sunak has a number of 5-point plans. One of them was a 5-point plan for illegal immigration to the United Kingdom. And one of those 5 points he made was that the immigration officers should go round the UK and round up people who are working here illegally. They're doing their job.
Well, that's what they're meant to be doing.